Hey guys, it's the Dutchums Master and welcome back to this brand new Sketchup speed build. So today I'm building Modern House 7 in Sketchup. Here you see that I've built the terrain already. I've decided to leave that out of the building presses this time because I had some struggle creating it for some reason. It didn't work out as fine as it normally does, but in the end it has just worked out fine as well. It just took a little bit longer than I had expected, so I decided to cut it out because otherwise it would be boring, and I turned the camera way too much so you couldn't even see anything. So in the end that doesn't really matter, or that doesn't really work in my opinion. So I thought, I'm just leaving that out because otherwise the video will be really crappy, and especially in the beginning you don't want that. So yeah, today I'm back with a Sketchup speed build, and yeah, today I've tried something new. I have done very many Sketchup speed builds already, so if you've not seen any of them yet, you can check them out on my channel. If you don't know what Sketchup is, I'll shortly explain. It's a program which mainly architects use a lot, but also just regular, normal people use to visualize their ideas, especially when it comes to architecture. But like I said, it's also just being used by real professional architects to visualize their ideas, and then they can be rendered later on in order to get a good impression of what something will look like in the end. Also, if you're making something in like 3D, to print it in a 3D printer, Sketchup is often a program that's used simply because it's quite easy to learn, but to get more progress with it, it's a little bit harder. But it's kind of easy to learn, and you can simply create something really cool with it and really visualize your ideas which you've got in your mind. So that's exactly what I do with all these speed builds. I create houses in them, and I just put them on YouTube, and I've made quite some videos of that already. So in case you were new to my channel or you've simply never seen one of these videos yet, there's a little explanation. So normally you would maybe watch my Sims videos, my Sims house building videos, in which I create a house. Well, in this video and in these kinds of videos, I simply create a house as well, but just in a different program. And in the end, this will look much more professional and a little bit more realistic. Though I have tried to tried some new render options, because I always use a rendering engine in order to render the buildings I create. The rendering engine I use is called iRender Next, and it works perfectly fine, and the end result is often really good looking. But I was looking for something new, and I found a tutorial on the internet how to create a little bit more of a sketchy render, I guess you could say. So I've done my research on that. I've followed the entire tutorial. There was like several parts, in total a few hours. I've done my best to follow that, kind of to create these new kinds of renders, and I think I'm starting to get there. They're not totally there yet, but I have decided to add them in this video. They're also in the thumbnail, so if you thought, what is this in the thumbnail? Well, it's something new. I hope you like it. And what the main idea of this new way of rendering, which is not really rendering, but which creates kind of a rendered image in the end, the idea of it is that you kind of more create the mood and the style that the building is in, and that you create that instead of really having an incredibly detailed, beautiful image. Because the point with those images is that you don't really get a good impression of what the surroundings are like, and also you don't really get an impression of what the mood of the house is like. So this really adds to the conceptualizing idea of SketchUp, that you can come up with a concept, something that's in your mind, that you can make into reality later on. But you can of course also use SketchUp to make something incredibly detailed. But I've decided for the renders this time to make it more of a concept, that you really get an idea what mood comes with, well, what mood you get when you're in the house. You really get that feel, when you're around the surroundings. That's kind of what I've been focusing on for now. And I think it worked out kind of fine, but I still want to make it a little bit more detailed and just a little bit better looking. But I'm going to try that for the next house, but for now I've used that as well. And here you see me building the house, because in the end that's kind of what this entire video is about. This time it was inspired by another video, or not another video. That is something that I would never do. but this was inspired by another rendered image which I saw on the internet, created by Saoda architects based in South Africa. And I saw a concept of one of their houses, and it immediately became like my favorite house that I've ever seen. And I decided to kind of try something like that as well. In the end, it looks quite different, but I guess if someone sees the picture, it will be recognizable. But I guess that's not really a problem because, I'm not like a real architect. So, there's no problem there. Lately I've actually not really been working on any of the side projects which I've been doing and which I've been talking about lately, because in one of the previous Sketchup speed builds I talked about the fact that I've really been asked by people for architectural jobs, so that I create kind of a concept drawing for like real people, for houses to be built in real life, which is of course incredible. I mean, I'm 16 years old, I've not studied for architecture yet, and I'm not even sure whether I'm really going to do that. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not sure yet. But yeah, of course it's incredible to be asked to get such offers to really build something or design something that's going to be built in real life. When I got the first offer to do something like that, it was like, whoa, this is cool. And then I got another offer, and now I'm working on something, but they're not really responding, and it's a little bit different. It would be a bigger project, but I'm not sure whether it's legit yet, because of course it all goes over the internet, so I'm never really sure whether it's legit and whether it's really going to be built and whether I'll be paid. Like, I mean, that's in the end, they give me a payment for it. And of course on the internet you always have to make sure that you get what you deserve, and don't know who some other people are. So I always have to make sure that I'm not being like scammed. So therefore I'm not talking too soon about stuff. And I'm not going to go any further into that other project that I just started talking about. But it is really cool. So if you still have like a designing job laying around, really feel free to contact me on my email address. The link is in the description. Is it? Yeah, it is. It's just an email address which you can send. And please, only for these kind of things, not simple questions. You can, of course, post them in the comments down below, because in the start, when the video has just been uploaded, then I can personally respond to them. But later on, also others can respond to them. Other people who watch the video who know a little bit more about it as well, who can possibly answer your questions. So that would be helpful. But you can also use that email address in case you have like an offer for me, which would be awesome. But here I'm creating some kind of roofing detail, which I thought would look cool. In the end, it did turn out kind of cool, but it's a little bit different than I had expected it to be. Most of this build has been built like all at once. One evening I just started building, and I think the biggest part of the entire shape was built in that session. But I did like it. But I still noticed that I still had to do really much work to finish it, and then I kind of get demotivated at times, simply because I wasn't really sure whether I liked it that much and what I would do with the rendering and stuff. But in the end, I decided to finish it because I never really liked the idea of having something laying around. I've got quite some project which I started working on, which I did not like, but which I got back to later, and which turned out to be really successful in the end. So that's kind of funny. So therefore I try to never finish something early, or at least never to not finish something. That was the worst sentence I could have come up with. But already we're halfway through the video, so the commentary is going kind of well so far, I guess. Not too sure, because of course my English stays kind of a point. But here we're making kind of planter boxes, I guess we could call them, which I decided to add something in with the render as well. So I've not added any plants in SketchUp. This time I've only added plants in Photoshop, because I'm not sure whether I've actually mentioned the program which I've started using for that yet. Well, it's Photoshop. So I guess everyone knows about it. But it can be incredibly confusing, and in my opinion it is pretty confusing, but I've started to find my way around it, and especially for this, because I use it for all the thumbnails I create, but I've never really used it for something like this. And creating thumbnails is kind of easy, especially the way I would do it, because I don't really have to do special effects or anything. So therefore, that's not really that hard, but now I've really started using Sketchup or Photoshop for something different as well, just to create those rendered images. But let me see here, we're creating the door. Yeah, I'm really happy to see that very many people like the SketchUp videos. It's always that when I come back a few months later to it that I really see like that incredibly many people have seen it. There's like one SketchUp speed build which I've done, which has like over 300,000 views, I believe, by now, which is insane. That's much more than like a regular Sims video would have. And I believe that's my second most viewed video ever. And it's kind of crazy because SketchUp is not really a big part of my channel, but still really many people watch it. So I think I'm going to do it even more in 2016 because I do really enjoy it, but I don't always get to making videos on SketchUp. But I guess I can do it more often because it really seems like people enjoy that. So please leave any comments about that, or just simply about the video or the house or anything in the comments down below. I'm really happy to read that, as like always. So that would be cool. You can of course always leave a like as well and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet, and then you can stay updated with all my videos, and then you see it whenever I upload something new. So that's pretty cool as well. So yeah, this time I used shutters, but I decided to be smart and just download them from the warehouse, because that saves so incredibly much time, and it does really look cool, and it's much better than in case I would have done it myself, or at least in the end I would get bored and I wouldn't finish it, or I would hurry and it wouldn't look good. But now I decided to just get the shutters from the warehouse, which is kind of the gallery for SketchUp. So in case you're familiar with The Sims, then you know the gallery. Well, it's kind of like that, but it just has all kinds of different items on it. I always use it to get like my chairs and tables as well. The tables I usually create myself, but chairs I do get from there simply because it saves incredibly much time, and there are some incredible pieces of art on there. So just simply use that. Here I'm creating the stairs simply, I'm not sure why, but I felt like if you could see indoors, it would be cool to have something to look at. And stairs always add to like a modern effect. At least that's what I'd seen in one of the official architectural renders, which I'd been looking at for the house that was inspired, or that inspired me to build this, actually. That's the way I should say it. So let me see here, we're doing, I'm using the split leveling tool, which well, not recently, but when I found out about it, I still remember that I was really happy, because in that way, interior design becomes so much easier, and simply designing becomes so much easier, because you can access many things, many angles, many parts of the building just so much quicker and easier. So I was really happy when I found out about that. This is the second session that I worked on this, and in that session I simply finished it all. The main part of the building has been done. The rest, you'll notice, is a little bit less detailed, but also because it's not like the most important part of the house. I mean, the front is just very private, because that's what you see with these kinds of houses a lot, that they're very private from the front, and that's really obvious, of course, very logical as well, because no one wants to be seen from the roadside. But you know, you have like a cliff on the other side, so there can be windows, and that's exactly what I did here. And furthermore, the sides aren't really important, or at least this side, so I'm just finishing the last two sides here. Well, one side and one front, but those are both sides. I mean, is that clear? I'm not sure. I must say that in the end I did really like the front, because it was so private and has so many shutters. It looked really realistic. This is the way it would look like in real life as well, I think, in my opinion. But that made it look really cool. So maybe I'm going to build something with more shutters and more private areas next time as well. I think the next time I'm going to build something smaller, because this was really big, which made that I couldn't really focus that much in the end. And also, if I create something smaller, I can create more of it, which at times can be good, as long as the quality doesn't go down, of course. But it's not necessarily that small house means that less effort is put into it, but it does mean that it's often a little bit less time to record, which is of course ideal, because then I would be able to make more videos which all have like perfect quality, I guess, or at least I hope they are good quality. Please let me know if you like the quality and the design and everything of the video, because it would really help me out, give me some extra motivation, I guess. Here I'm again using the shutters, which I'm so happy with that I decided to look this up, because that would have taken so much time to create myself. And in this way I've been able to just use someone else's genius. That's not the way I should be saying it, but I have no idea how I should say it otherwise. But geniality is definitely not it. But here we're finishing the roof. I'm kind of using something symmetrical over there, using it exactly the same as we've got it on the other side. And then in a few seconds I'll add something really cool, not this window. Well, this window is kind of cool as well, but not the thing I was talking about. But in a few seconds you'll see me adding some lines to that big gray box kind of, which really added to that modern effect in my opinion. I really thought it was realistic and cool. So I'm curious what you think of it, because it's not something really special, I guess, but in my opinion it did look cool. So I'm curious to hear what you think. Is that indeed something that's typical for modern houses? Because in my opinion it is, but I'm not sure about you. Here we've got the door, and I'm just adding some colors and stuff. I got kind of lazy with the doors in the end over there. Here we're making a fence, adding the same colors there. Here we're starting to create that what I just started talking about, those lines, which are incredibly simplistic, but really modern in my opinion. I really like the look of that, and that really made that other side, in my opinion, pretty beautiful. Here I use some shutters as well, and then we're starting to get to really close to the end of this video, and then you'll finally be able to see those new kinds of renders which I've talked about. The thumbnail is such a rendered image as well, but I know you can finally have a good look of them. So I'm very curious to hear, what do you think of that? Do you prefer it over the other renderings, or would you prefer those more realistic renderings as well, which give a little bit of a less of an impression of what the feel and the style of the house is? I have added those traditional renders as well. I believe only 2 of them, but that's enough, I guess. And then please leave a comment down in the comments down below. Leave a like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. Then you see it whenever I upload a new video, and that's of course pretty awesome. And in that way we can make even more videos. But anyways, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching it, and I hope to see you back later.